So welcome everyone. It's great to have you from live at the Creamery, Mr. Devey, taking advantage of an opportunity to interview some wonderful community members. Today we've got Karlee Fain, who's an alum and a board member, and we're delighted to be able to spend a few minutes together. Karlee, how are you?
I'm doing well, Mark. I'm really happy to be here with you, and I'm delighted that you're doing these videos. This is a great time to get to connect in a new way.
And you live up in New York State. Where are you at the moment?
I do. So I'm right now quarantined in Pennsylvania, not very far from Perkiomen. I wish I could stop in and say hi, but I'll take this in the meantime.
Well, great. Well, Karlee, you've grown a business from the ground up. I'd love you to tell us a little bit about what you do and what you're up to these days so we get a sense of who you are.
Sure. So I run a coaching practice that really specializes in making sure that driven women can reach and to sustain the best levels of what we call the big three. And by big three, I mean a thriving career, great health, and relationships that work for them, while having time to breathe and actually be fulfilled at the same time. So another way of saying that would be I clear busy work off the plates of high achievers so that they have the time and the energy to get to the things they really care about. And it's been an evolution. When you say from the ground up, this has been an evolving thing over the course of 13 years now.
So those skills and those gifts that you have, where'd those come from?
So I think it's a little bit of a mix from everything. It's interesting. So I was actually raised in a yoga ashram while attending Perkiomen as a student. And so I had this balance of learning how to work and how to have structure and how to put plans and things together. And, you know, my home life was all about learning how to breathe and meditate and take care of myself. And so as a kid, it felt like these two opposite worlds, you know, or not opposite, but like these two worlds. And it was only in, you know, in getting older and then building a business that I realized, oh, these two things actually really support each other. There is no business without the body. And vice versa. And so it's been a great way of blending two worlds together.
That's great. Well, every day I pull up your Instagram posts. They're always inspirational. It really does. They're uplifting. And I'd just like to know who inspires you?
Ooh, that's a great question. So I've got a general answer and then I can give you like specific names. But my general answer is I'm really inspired by the leaders or the authors, the teachers that dare to be vulnerable in what they teach, meaning that they dare to share what they're working on. So rather than pretending to have it perfect, they're kind of coming from a mentality of we're all in this together. We're learning, we're growing, we're getting better together. So with that in mind, I love the research that Brene Brown puts out about leadership and vulnerability. I love the work that Elizabeth Gilbert does as an author or Marie Forleo as a coach. These are people that inspire me because they keep it real, for lack of, you know, that's a cliche, but they're real about what's challenging, they're acknowledging what challenges us and the path forward, and the ability to be optimistic at the same time. And I think nobody wants all unicorns and fairy dust, even though that stuff is fun. We want to be real about where we are and have the tools to move forward. Yeah, those are my go-tos.
Yeah, that's great. That's great. I had lunch with Brene Brown a number of years ago at NAS, and it's interesting. I was talking the other day with Bernadette about her. She has a really interesting personality because she's not this warm and fuzzy person. She's much more analytical. She's much more math science. So she's a little bit stiff, and yet that's what's exciting about her because the skills and the tools she's learning, she's had to learn, but not from a place where they all came easily. So I think that whole learning process for her helps to make the whole concept one where she can reinforce where those skills are because she's had to learn a lot of them rather than have those come, you know, through her experiences.
Oh, that's exactly it. You hit the nail on the head. That's what I appreciate. That's what inspires me, is somebody who's able to share what's challenged them and what they're working on. Because I think it normalizes the idea that we're all working on something.
Right.
all the time. Hopefully, we're all trying to grow and become better all the time. And so people who can give us the tools, but also be there in the trenches with us to me, makes the work more approachable and more inspiring.
Yeah. Well, I really enjoyed getting to know you and was so excited when you came back to Perkiomen and joined us as a board member. I just want to know, what are the things that are taking place right now at Perkiomen that excite you, and how do they tie into your career in some fashion?
Oh gosh, how much time do we have? I could talk for a long time about the things I'm excited about. It's interesting coming in as a board member. My first thought is, okay, I'm going to be in this position to hopefully be of some service. Maybe there's something I can do to be helpful here. And if I'm honest, Mark, I walk away from every visit to campus and every board meeting entirely reinvigorated and inspired by what's happening, not just in the boardroom, but also just on the campus and with the students and with the faculty. So what excites me first is the sense of community that's at Perkiomen. The way I see the students really engaging with each other in meaningful conversations, being supportive. I remember before I was on the board, I was invited to come back and give a presentation, and I kind of took a risk. It was some mathematical equation we were doing, I don't remember why, and I asked if there was anybody in the audience who was good at math, and there's 400 something students in there, and everybody kept saying the same kid's name. I said, oh, so-and-so, you gotta ask so-and-so, and so I said, so-and-so, would you stand up? And I realized as I did that I had put this person on the spot, that they might not be comfortable, standing in front of the group, and I felt terrible for a moment, and then the students started to cheer. They were clapping and they were cheering, and I saw him muster the courage. He got the answer, no problem. And I had never witnessed in my life that amount of support for the kid who's got the math skills before, just as much as we support the kids who are athletic or into science. And so I'm really excited about the way the kids on campus are so wholeheartedly engaged, eager to be there and eager to support one another. So in a time when there's more, even before this, just social distancing, more, screen time, that these kids have this ability to connect on a really meaningful level and dare to risk, right? To live into the Perkiomen motto and risk being their best. So for me, it's what's happening with the students, which is facilitated by the faculty, the staff, and of course the board, but that's the heart of it for me. And then of course, gosh, I wish the Entrepreneurial Institute was there when I was a student. What I would have done for that, and the Medical Institute, and now AI, like just this idea that we've got the tradition of over a century of practices at Perkiomen that have been proven to work, and this ability to think about the future at the same time and to be creating things that are going to solve future problems that we don't even know of yet, that's coming out of our school at Perkiomen. It blows my mind in the best possible sense. And so seeing it in action is a gift that I go home, talk about inspired. I should have just said I was inspired by the Perkiomen community.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I know that as a board member, I know you were a little bit nervous in your first board meeting. And what's been great about the transformation of the board and the school is we are all united in this vision. And, I remember, you being a little bit hesitant, and you looked around you, and I know I was pushing hard to have you immediately share your voice in the first meeting. Not one of these things where you have to sit on the sidelines for a while. And before you know it, you were right out there, girl, and you were, a central figure. And that's really what the school is about. And we're trying to make our board more diverse and have it be a more reflection of our community. And so having, a range of people from different walks of life and with different skills that they can bring strengthens who we are and helps me achieve, my vision as an institution. So you're a real gift and part of that, transformation and the joy, those joyous moments that we find so frequently at Perkiomen.
Well, thank you for that. And I have to just echo just being on a board that is increasingly more diverse. I love that we've got different ages and all sorts of different, populations on the board. And there's this sense of having different perspectives, not always agreeing, but being so eager to do what works for the students and for the school. And so it's always from this perspective of how can we come together on this? There's this core value of wanting to see the students and the school thrive that is universal in everybody, regardless of, our differences. And so to be part of a team that can have different ideas and want to work together, like eagerly want to work together, it's a delight, such a delight.
Well, so one of the delights that you and I both experienced is we've had opportunities to work with Phil Lloyd, who was my board chair, and then had to step down, and now the two of you are co-chairs of the Capital Campaign. And the first goal that we're trying to achieve is to build a brand new student center right in the heart of our community. What about the student center do you find exciting, inspirational? What about that lights you up? Because you and Phil are playing lead roles in going out and helping to generate interest and excitement and informing, our community about these wonderful ways and opportunities for us to grow as an institution. So what about that lights you up?
Well, it kind of circles back. I'm noticing a theme here in our conversation was this ability to honor the tradition and what we know has worked about Perkiomen for a long time, and to be malleable for the future. I keep thinking of presence and progress. We're able to focus on what's best for the present students and to be thinking about what's going to make sense, moving forward. And so the new building, it's physically, literally going to be the heart of the campus. Like, it is in the center of the campus. So it's the hub that connects all the other departments, and it gives this central meeting ground for students, again, to be personally interacting, so not in their room or in different, lobbies, but to be all together. And then I love that there's going to be space for, just things like the cooking area within the student centers, that students could get in there and cook a meal that's meaningful to their family or their culture and share it with their friends and be causing conversation and connection in that way.
Yeah.
So there's got these great planned out spaces that, you and the architects have created, but also that the building itself is set up to be flexible for the future of education that we don't know yet. So that we're building something that functions really well now to support what's already good about Perkiomen, and then also can be useful, for decades and decades and decades to come. That's great.
One of the things I always think of is on every project I've ever worked on as a head of school, as soon as we complete it, the graduates will come back, or the alumni will come back later on, and they're all mad that they didn't have that when they were there. And one of the nice things about the Student Center is this is going to be a great place for the alumni to come back and gather and have an experience that will be new and fresh. And Robbie's was the place where everybody hung out. And now for us to build a place that's larger with a range of spaces and size and variation that will allow a number of different people of different ages, different interests, boarding and day, all of them in one space with so many creative options that they will not only be choosing, but they will naturally get drawn in to the other things that are happening in that space.
This kind of not so secret extra motive, right?
Right.
Is that to have everybody in this open space, that's something you might not have been exposed to before, like a certain type of cooking or an open mic night or a special one-time class on something that you might happen by it and be drawn in and get to experience things that you might not have had before. And that's always been an asset of Perkiomen because of the diversity of the students. But so to have a place where that's formalized and we can facilitate more of that, it's just turning up the volume on what we already know works. And I think that's brilliant. And I do think,
earlier you were noting about things that we don't know about, things that have yet to come. For us to be able to have a competition space for kids to play video games, and for us to be able to have the institutes, artificial intelligence, the Medical Institute, Entrepreneur, all of those are avenues for growth and development in a variety of different ways that will be happening in that space. So, we're on the verge of a number of areas of growth that our society is involved in, and our students will have an opportunity to experience while they're in high school to lead or get their feet wet and investigate some of these things, have some authentic experiences where they're going out and getting these experiences out during the classes in the real world through the institutes. Those experiences are going to be things that they draw from, might guide them gives them some direction where they're headed or not. But they're going to be putting themselves out there on the front lines at a time where they have choice and voice. And I promise you, as we continue to grow as an institution, these kids are going to have endless opportunities to be exposed to things that will benefit them in the long run. So I'm really excited about you and Phil teaming and helping to guide this process. We're doing very well already in it, and that's one of the things that I enjoy so much about working with the board and with the alumni is people care dearly about the school, and I'm excited that you as a graduate came back to share your vision and be supportive and helpful to us. So here I am in the Creamery, which is built in the 1850s back in the day. So this is taking us back to around the time the school first began, and at the same time we're talking about the growth and development of the future. So Karlee, any thoughts you want to leave us with today?
Well, I really encourage anybody who's getting the opportunity to view this, and thank you if you are. If you haven't been to campus or haven't connected in a while, I can't emphasize enough what a great idea it is to do that. Because I know the Perkiomen School that I went to is very different than the Perkiomen School that's happening now. And the good things have carried through, and then there's also so many things that surprise me and continue to motivate me and inspire me. So if you're looking for a dose of inspiration, you don't have to look any farther than Perkiomen, and I swear Mark didn't ask me to say that.
Thanks, Karlee. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you. You're a real inspiration. My hope is that you'll all join us the next time on Live at the Creamery.